Hey everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Asan Rose, and today we're going to be talking about the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K and 5 things that I love about it 1 year later. All right, so the first and number one thing about the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K is RAW. Blackmagic Raw. Whether you're in 3:1 compression, 12:1, Q0, whatever you prefer, the RAW and the Blackmagic Pocket 4K and 6K is phenomenal. You can change colors, you can do what you want, you can restore highlights. Am I saying that it's going to just cover every bit of footage you have? No. But if you know what you're doing with the cinema camera and you can develop a great image and you've graduated from the DSLR and you can handle 4K, oh my goodness. The colors, the bit depth, it's just for $1,000 or $1,400. It's phenomenal. I came from a 8-bit color space with the Canon 60 Mark II, and I actually moved into the 12-bit color space with the Blackmagic Raw. And I gotta let you know, it is a big upgrade. You definitely notice a difference when you're color grading, how much you can push colors, or let's say you get the white balance off, how you can recover that if you just need to. Man, Blackmagic Raw is amazing. The second thing I love about this camera is the screen. It's not the crazy brightest thing outside, and it's not like, the most, ginormous screen to work with, but I do love it. It's very big. It's easy to use. You can catch your focus. Like, think about it like this. Most external monitors that you get are going to be 5 inches. Or if you opt in for a bigger one, it's going to be 7 inches. Now, to be honest, I would prefer to have a 7-inch monitor. That's actually what I have right now is a 7-inch monitor, and it's ideal. But the 5-inch screen, if you're running and gunning and you're out in the field and you don't really have another screen with you, man, this 5-inch screen really comes in handy. You can see what you're doing and everything is laid out so nice. Which actually brings me to the third reason why I actually really love this camera. The usability is phenomenal. You can go through the menus. It's very well laid out, from the monitor to LUTs to just everything is easy, self-explanatory, and it really can teach you how to use a cinema camera. Yes, don't we all wish it had built-in ND filters and in-body stabilization, but at the end of the day, it's really easy to use. It's really easy to get to your audio menus, your monitors, and really customize the Blackmagic the way that you want it. Now, the fourth reason why I love this camera is the dynamic range. When you come from a 60 Mark II, which is really good, it's a nice camera and it's a great beginner camera, but it has only 9 stops of dynamic range. And now when you switch to a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K, you get an extra 4 stops of dynamic range. You go from 9 to 13. 13 stops of dynamic range is so great to have, especially as a budget filmmaker. Whenever you can run outside and pop an ND filter on, have a good low light lens, or have a good low aperture lens at f2.8, f1.18, man, you can get some phenomenal images. And the dynamic range really blows me away in this camera at such a small package or price point, and with the micro four thirds sensor. Great job, Blackmagic, on that. Now, the fifth and final thing that I'm going to talk about today is the slow motion that this camera can do and how easily you can just switch over to it. The high frame rate, you can do 4K 60, you can do 4K 241 crop, 75 frames a second, and you can do 2.6K at 120 frames a second. Now, it is super slow and it just basically crops into the sensor, which, if you know what you're doing with it and you're using it for that purpose, you know what you're doing. So like, why complain about it? It's a great feature to have, and I really love being able to do 120 frames, just basically by just boom, switch it over, and you're good to go. It's so easy. And the high frame rate button on the back is just like, man, everybody should have that. You just hit boom, high frame rate, and it pops up to your off speed frame rate, and it just, you can go from 24 to 60 frames a second just like that. And because you can set your shutter speed to 180 degrees instead of being at a shutter angle, or since you can set it to a shutter angle instead of shutter speed, so 180 degree rule, right? 180 degrees versus at like 48, 1/48, right? So it actually allows the shutter speed to always be exactly on point whenever you go into a high frame. So, man, the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K 1 year later does not disappoint by any means. If you guys are budget filmmakers or indie filmmakers, and you know for a fact that you don't have $100,000 or $10,000 or whatever to spend on a film, the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K is phenomenal. It can get you really, really stellar images for music videos, for weddings, for films. You can do it for indie documentaries. Man, I absolutely love this camera. Now, again, there are some quirks. The form factor is very difficult sometimes to fit on a gimbal. The body itself is like odd shaped at times. The battery life is atrocious, so you always have to find a way to kind of work around the battery life itself. I use Sony MP batteries, and then I just kind of mount it on or mount it around. But man, this camera, once you learn how to get around the quirks, just like any DSLR, just like any camera, if you're paying $5,000 for a C200, you should expect it to be a lot easier to work. Like, to last all day, this, that, and the other. Like, the Sigma FP still has its quirks. The Canon series cameras, they still have their quirks. Even cinema cameras don't have like IBIS and all this other stuff. So for the price that you're paying and the image that you're getting out of the camera and the ability to change colors in RAW, and slow motion and slow-mo RAW, ProRes, like Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K 1 year later, the 5 things I love about it, and I can 100% recommend this camera to anyone who thinks that they want to make films. Thank you guys so much. Subscribe, hit the like button if you like this video. I will have more content coming soon, so follow me on Instagram. You guys have a wonderful day. Avoid the coronavirus, and please, please, please keep on shooting.